My name is Natalie, and I am giving a presentation on the educational giant John Watson. John Watson was born on a small farm in South Carolina on January 9, 1878. His parents were Pickens Butler and Emma Keegan Rowe Watson. His mother was a very religious woman and named him after a Baptist minister in hopes that he would one day join the clergy. However, John was closer to his father, who was a non-religious man and who drank and had many affairs. His parents divorced when he was 12 years old, and he lived with his mother in Greensville, South Carolina. During high school, he became very violent and was a poor student. So, his mother used her professional connections to get him into Furman University when he was 16. John had a professor who inspired him to become serious about his education. He received a master's degree in philosophy when he was 21. While he was attending Furman University, he met his first wife, Mary Ikes, and they had 2 children together. Then he went to the University of Chicago and received a PhD in psychology. After he graduated from the University of Chicago, he became a research professor from the years 1903 to 1908. Then he was offered a job as a psychology professor at Johns Hopkins University from uh, from 1908 to 1920. While he was working at Johns Hopkins, he became the president of the American Psychology Association in 1915. John had an affair with a graduate student named Rosalie Rayner and was asked to resign from the Johns Hopkins in 1920. He divorced Mary and married Rosalie in 1921. They had 2 sons together named William and James. After John resigned from Johns Hopkins, he pursued a career in advertising. His second wife, Rosalie, passed away after they were married for 15 years, and he finished raising their 2 sons alone on a farm in Connecticut. Unfortunately, he did not have a good relationship with his sons and struggled to raise them. He received a gold medal for his contributions in psychology shortly before he passed away in 1958. John became inspired by Ivan Pavlov's work when he was studying at the University of Chicago. He focused on biology, physiology, and the behavior of animals. After a lot of research, John came to the conclusion that humans were more complicated versions of the animals that he studied. Each animal reacted based on the environment and past experiences they had. He became a huge advocate for behaviorism based on his research and observations from those studies. John published a paper entitled Psychology as the Behaviorist Views It in 1913. In the same year, John gave a lecture introducing the idea of behaviorism at Chicago University. Many people did not think the first paper had enough evidence, so John wrote and published the article Psychology from the Standpoint of a Behaviorist in 1919. John wrote many articles sharing the evidence that too much affection given to children is a bad thing. He believed that children should be treated as smaller adults in the home. This brought a lot of controversy that still exists today. John's personal definition of psychology was a study of people's actions with the ability to predict and control those actions. This is also known as the definition of behaviorism today. The most useful tool that originated from behaviorism is the idea of objectives. I really like having specific objectives in the classrooms so I can validate that I learned what was expected. One of the things that behaviorism states is that the content is not as important as the methods and tools the teachers use. I believe that they are equally important to the overall success of students' education. I have had several teachers who did not care for their students in the obvious way. I believe that it is essential for a teacher to be a safe person that students can go to when they are struggling. It can take a lot of courage for some students to ask for help, and I think it is incredibly important to have a professional but loving relationship with a teacher. and student. I have thoroughly enjoyed learning about John Watson's life and contributions to education and society. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good day.